Yeah, okay. I haven't heard him say anything.
Good morning. This is Julie Lorenzen. Thank you for joining the May 29th, 2018 VOLTHA call. And just a reminder to everyone, we do record the session, so this will be posted later to the VOLTHA playlist. Please keep that in mind during the discussions and any presentations that are given. And with that, I think we'll go right into today's meeting. So the first item we have for discussion today is there was sent over the email on VOLTHA Discuss, the collaboration proposal from CIG USA. So we do have their representatives on the call today. And let me go ahead and bring up that document here.
Okay.
And also, I hope the folks from the VOLTHA community have had a chance to look at this. It was sent out for review. And then with that, I will go ahead and CIG, let you talk about your proposal and start the discussion with the community.
Okay. So I don't know, Haibo, are you on the call? Yeah, I guess I cannot hear. All right, maybe I can start here. So again, Judy and the team, thank you very much for inviting us to present today. My name is Ali Taslimi. I'm heading up the sales and marketing for CIG for the Americas. We also have Wolf, who is heading up the software engineering here in Santa Clara. We have, I guess we have Haibo. I don't know if he's online, but his name is here. But anyway, he's our CTO. He's, I think, dialing from Shanghai. And also we have Harrison, who is also working on sales and marketing here at CIG. Now, just a quick introduction about CIG. Cambridge Industries Group, or CIG, is a 12-year-old company. We started in Shanghai 12 years ago. We are I guess one of the prominent networking companies based in China. We have our business model. It has been focused on ODM, JDM for networking products. The products that we focus on are, again, whole range of products from home networking, from routers to OLTs, ONTs, and now recently, obviously, the discussion we have is on the OLT that we have developed. The company has close to 3,000 employees globally, and we actually went into become a public company in Shanghai several months ago. We have a major presence here in Americas, particularly in Santa Clara, Silicon Valley, and we are actually growing our team here as well. We've been working with AT&T for almost a year now, very closely on this particular, I guess, platform, the OLT, Open OLT platform. And we've collaborated with AT&T to put together a specification, in fact, for the Open OLT. So today, what we are looking at, we would like to introduce actually our Open OLT to the VOLTHA community. And we're looking forward to start actually become a collaborating member of the VOLTHA community. So the Open OLT is a platform that we started, I think, a little bit more than a year ago. The product is a 1RU OLT. The reason we call it Open OLT is because we are actually very much OCP compatible. And we are focusing on SDN and NFV. This is, at this point, this platform or product, if you will, is the first and the only product that we are aware of, which is based on FPGA for the PON MAC, which was internally developed by CIG, and also an off-the-shelf network processor unit, NPU. So unlike all the OLTs in the market today, which are using off-the-shelf ASICs or integrated circuits from Broadcom, this is the only product right now in the market which is internally developed by CIG based on FPGA and NPU. So the product actually we do have the first engineering samples of the product will be available shortly. So again, the team has been working on VOLTHA integration for the past several months. In fact, Wolf here recently moved from Shanghai to the US to lead that opportunity and also that team to work closely with the VOLTHA community. So that's kind of a brief about the product here. Again, it's a 1RU, 24 ports of XGS PON, and with 6 ports of 100G for the uplink. That's kind of where we are. We are the FPGAs are I think one probably major difference between this OLT and others in the market is that we've been able to actually achieve a lot more integration with our architecture and design and then otherwise. So we have 6 FPGAs on this board. So if each FPGA is actually processing 4 ports, which versus the off-the-shelf device, which actually does 2 ports. And then we have a very powerful network processor unit on this board, which is which is pretty significant, I would say, achievement that we've done. The power dissipation, our anticipation is that the power dissipation of this platform will be less than other OLTs in the market. Again, as I mentioned, the dimensions are OCP compatible, which are smaller than the equivalent units that you see in the market today based on the ASICs, an off-the-shelf ASICs. So that's kind of a brief about the product and about the company. I can I can open the panel or open the floor for any questions that you may have that we can clarify.
Okay, so this is Saurav. Just to make it clear, your product is called OpenOLT, right?
Yes.
The confusion is that in VOLTHA, we have an adapter called OpenOLT. That adapter right now works with EdgeCore's OLT. It does not work with your product yet. But just to make you aware that the same name is used for your product as well as this adapter in VOLTHA.
Okay.
So what is your plan for integration with VOLTHA? I'm sorry, I came in 5 minutes late. You may have already covered it, but can you?
Yeah, we're working on it. We're right now actively working on integration with VOLTHA.
Yeah, but how? I mean, are you writing your own adapter in VOLTHA? Are you using the OpenOLT adapter in VOLTHA? Are you aware of the OpenOLT adapter in VOLTHA? Or what?
We have.
I'm sorry?
Hello? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have for water and demo OCP.
It is very hard to hear, Mr. Lin, when you try to say something. I think you.
So yes, we are developing the adapter. We have developed the adapter. Right. Yes. We already made the demo at the OCP summit in I think in April, a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Well, I
think someone, I mean, Ali, someone on your side tried to talk and maybe too far away from the microphone or something. Do you have multiple?
Okay. Who is trying to talk from CIG? Because Lynn and myself, we're here. We're in the same room. Is anybody else from CIG attempting to talk?
No, I think somebody on the phone want to ask a question, maybe.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have
Would it be possible for the individual who's trying to ask the question to type it into the chat because it's not possible to hear you?
Yeah. One thing, Ali, and Mr. Lin, CUI. How do I pronounce it?
It's definitely Lin.
Lin should be fine. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Lin
Yes.
is fine. So what about the software stack? Is the software components, all meet the requirement of the, the Tom and Sumitra and Tom Anchub, they propose, OCP definition? For
Yes.
example, using
Yes,
the
we follow.
ONL.
Yes, we follow all the definition, the specification, and
I think Mr. Lin, I think it's on your side the you fade in and out.
Okay, so Sean, I think the answer is yes. I don't know, for some reason, I guess we have do you hear me better now?
I hear you better, but when the other person in the room try to talk, it's hard to hear.
Okay, Lynn, you need to speak up a little bit, but the answer is yes, Sean.
So all the software component within the hardware you're running is all open source softwares?
Yes, it is. Correct.
Okay. And I think Saurav is still asking what the VOLTHA integration. I know you have done some kind of demo. So do you write your own OOT adapter? And during the demo, do you actually have an ONU, and then is the ONU adapter also established?
Yes, Sean, that is correct. Actually, what we did during the demo, we had an ONT as well at OCP, 10 gig, and we established a link between the ONT and OLT, correct?
But is the VOLTHA in the background running it?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So basically, you at least you have a demo version of the adapter, and I guess that adapter will be different than the OpenOOT adapter. I think the ONAV has an OpenOOT adapter, and they're trying to establish a common API. So
Right.
so all the doesn't matter what is your FPGA based your 24 port OOT or any other OOTs can utilize the API is developed by the ONAV. So
Right.
so the idea potentially, Saurav, correct me if I'm wrong, if this OOT can become a second OOT, can talk to what has been developed based on the FPGA based Broadcom based API, the OpenOOT adapter, then
Right.
that would be something very interesting. So Rob, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we say maybe a little more clearly. There is so ONF with AT&T support has developed this OpenOLT adapter, right? And the idea behind this adapter was that it lowers the bar for any new box to be integrated with VOLTHA. So there is basically an API that is developed as part of the OpenOLT adapter, and the only requirement for any new box to come in and become a part of become integrated with VOLTHA is that you honor that API in the software that you write that runs inside the box, right? Instead of developing your own adapter and understanding how VOLTHA works and maintaining that as we make changes to VOLTHA for VOLTHA 2.0, there's going to be a bunch of different changes that are coming in. Instead of following all that and understanding how that works, and then integrating all of that into this new adapter that you're writing for your bus, it may make sense to just use or reuse the existing adapter and just honor the API with which the OpenOLT adapter speaks to any box. Am I making sense?
Yes, Saurav, I think for some reason you also sound a little bit faint, but I think you're pretty clear. One thing Julie, how much time do we have on this topic?
We're actually about out of time, so maybe we can take 5 more minutes. So
Okay.
we probably need to talk about the proposed contributions and how that would fit in as well. Maybe 5
Right.
minutes.
I'm actually interested in the deliverable CIG is hoping to bring on the table. Also, one thing is CIG maybe what I would suggest is working with Sarav and the Shad, and then start looking into what is in the OpenOLT adapter. You know, I know you have started your integration while the OpenOLT adapter API is being established. So I think it is parallel work being going on. But you know, take a look of the OpenOLT adapter with your, you know, from your software engineer. I think all the code is available to be reviewed, and see whether you can help to also develop that open, you know, to add additional features of the existing OpenOLT adapters. I think that would be a great help for the community.
Yes, no problem. We will provide the adapter source code once it gets approved.
Yeah. And then, so what about the deliverable? The most interesting I'm looking at is the netconf in the VOLTHA based on W385. So
Okay.
Can you guys explain what that is?
Actually, W385 is just introduced in VOLTHA, I think this year. So we are still working on this. This is how to. The point is how to coexist the netconf and the OpenFlow together.
Yeah. Here's the thing. WP385 was introduced actually last summer in VOLTHA, and actually this year we have taken the decision to not use the WP sort of CLI commands, which so in VOLTHA 2. So if you look at VOLTHA 1.3, you're right. It's very much in there and being used. But in VOLTHA 2.0, that support is going to be removed. So I think you should, you know, talk to us, changes, and look at some of the previous discussions on the VOLTHA sort of YouTube channel to see, you know, what is taken VOLTHA 2.0.
It's not very clear.
Ali, what I'm going to do is, I think I can try to as impartial as possible. I'll guide you guys through some of the decision we made during the lockdown back in the April timeframe.
Okay.
The expand config, the WT385 specific component, it will be you know, deprecated. It's been deprecated and will be removed in VOLTHA 2.0. But there are additional needs for the netconf interface for the management related, FCAPS related stuff. It's right now in development by some service providers. So
okay.
I will work with you guys and then guide you through the evolution of the VOLTHA from 1.3 to 2.0. I think that's something I can do. The OpenOMCI support, I think Chip here, you know, from the AdTrend, he has done a great job on putting things together, and there are a lot of the references and then documentation on the VOLTHA wiki site. So if the CIG, you know, if your ONT can be part of the test ONT to work with the OpenOMCI framework, I think that is something I think that will be very positive contribution from your side also. So
Okay.
So I think I can work with you offline to get this. And anybody else want to involve with the discussion, let me know. But I think there may be some kind of gap here, and I would like to guide the CIG over through that. But in the meantime, I would like to welcome CIG to be involved with the VOLTA project. As I said, the OpenOLT is being developed by AT&T and the ONF, or ONF and AT&T definitely require the hardware vendors like you guys to be involved, and then make sure your device can be integrated into that OpenOLT adapter. So Julie, I think Ali and then Mr. Lin, do you have any last word before we move back to Julie?
No, it's fine, Sean. Really appreciate the opportunity, and again, we will look forward to your guidance to get into get more involved, obviously, and again, looking forward to the opportunity to work with the VOLTHA community.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I think we'll move back to the agenda for a moment. And next thing we want to go is look at the Sprint 2 planning updates that we have. And we'll start looking at the to-do and in-progress items. And I know we have some recent updates that are in there from today even. So let me see who we've got on. I know we have Chip.
Hey, Julie, I checked today. Yeah. We only 27 sprint to complete.
But we haven't added a lot of them back in yet. We still have more to come.
I check that every day.
That's dangerous. All right. So let's go first through looking at the in-progress items. And we do have one of the tasks and items in progress for moving read-only RPCs to a separate service. And I don't know if Stefan is on.
No, he's on.
Have anything to add here?
No, that's just in progress. That's
okay.
It will be done for Sprint 2.
Okay. And then I think we talked about the Twisted Python library ones last time briefly, and the in-progress items are still on track for this. And then yes, the remaining to-do items, some of them may carry over into Sprint 3?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Any discussion we need with the group on those items today?
So Ken, since we have you here, so is it safe to cut the 1.4 within? I think Julie, maybe that's one of your items. Is it safe to cut the 1.4 this week or next week?
We have not put any of those
destruction.
So for that, it's like there's no 2.0 items from our parts in the release yet.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, and then next, let's go down to, and let me see, do we have Jono? Yes, we do. So the next one, OLTF should be able to send events when new ONU serial numbers are detected. And this one, I believe, is in Garrett for review. Jono, do you have any comments on this item?
No, I think this has been approved. I think it will merge soon.
Okay, thank you.
And Jono, is this only applicable for the OpenOLT adapter or everybody?
This is actually a change in the ONOS OLT app, so it applies to anybody using that.
Okay.
But it doesn't impact any of the current functionality.
Okay.
If you don't want Kafka integration, you just don't configure it, and it, it'll work the way it always used to.
Sean, any other questions?
No.
Okay, thanks. Next one, 688. So Ken, this was another one on the Twisted Python library for affinity proxy request response handling.
Yeah, this one is ongoing, and that will go through a couple of sprints, I believe.
Okay. And Chip, the next item is for you. OpenOMCI agent add device improvements were added in. And you had an update here from today that it looks like the code is complete, but a few more tests before it will go for review.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions for Chip on this item? All right. Then the next one, OpenOLT ONU delete. And this one is in progress. And I don't see Jonathan on. Let me see if Shad is on. Shad, I think you're on here. Do we have? So I think the last update we had was this was working on the VOLTHA driver side and sorry, done on the VOLTHA side, but still work to be done on the VOLTHA driver side. Do we have any updates for this item?
No, Jonathan is working on this. I don't have any update on it.
Okay, so we'll check with him offline. And Chip, the next item is back to you. This is VOL 775, decode of VLAN tagging filter data is invalid. And this one was complete, but it was waiting on one of the other issues we submitted. I think that one's complete now.
Yeah, it's actually, this one's actually in review right now. It went in last week, and
sure it is.
A single plus one from one person from Radisys, so we're just waiting on more plus ones or plus twos.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the group?
So okay. Sometimes when we say waiting for review, I don't want it to be waited for like 6 weeks, right? So Don Newton, but that is Amit, Don, and Kim. Is Amit on the call?
Yes, Sean. Yes. Yeah, we will look into it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, and then the next one.
Yeah, we need to mute again.
Okay, the next one is, I think, questions will go back to Jonathan Davis again. Shad, do you know anything more on this one, or do we need to check with Jonathan on the status? So this is the OLT disable.
Yeah, again, I'm not taking statuses from the AT&T folks.
Okay, got it. All right, thanks. All right, VOL 803 is the next one, and this was, we had some discussion on this previously about what would be involved, and this is for identifying baseline performance for VOLTHA.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we have run some scenarios. There's still some more scenarios to run. So once those are complete, then we'll publish the report.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ken? All right, next one, back to Chip. VOL 868.
Sorry, just a quick question on. Okay, so is there I guess a list of scenarios that are being tested, or?
No, there's just a few scenarios that we're trying to capture performance, some baseline performance on. Not tons of them, but some involve some failure testing, and those are the one that is taking longer time because there's all kind of different kind of failures that we are looking at.
Okay, so the list of tests would be published, I guess, and when you publish the results, is that the?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Other questions?
No, I was just interested in what tests were going to be run or are being run, I guess.
Okay, thanks, Sean. All right, next one is VOL 868, and this is improved MIB database contents on created ME instances for MIB audit. And Chip, I think you had a significant update here in the comments, so I'll let you discuss that briefly if you would.
Yeah, the main issue came up when I started doing some of the auditing, that on MEs that are created, I needed to do an additional GET request for anything that's set by create or that's writable that's not specified in the create request, so I get the defaults back so that when we do the comparison, it's accurate. I don't get something looking like it exists on the ONU only. So that was the major point for this change.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the group for Chip?
So wouldn't that normally be picked up by the MIB upload initially, or is that?
No, well, the MIB upload, if you start off with a MIB reset, then you'll get all all MEs that are created by the ONU, and you will get the upload of all the created instances and attributes. But if you go out and say create a gem port and only specify one or two of the attributes, there might be items that are set by create, and they'll take on their default values, and you only get the.
I see.
Yeah, and then there was one other, and this is, I believe, in one of the VLAN tables where they have some of the fields for mapping of DSCP bits. It takes up 24 octets, and when you go off and do a GET request with, say, several attributes for that one ME, you'll probably only get a few of them back. So you need to do individual requests for some of the large items if you have a basic OMCI frame size. It's just to make it a little bit more robust.
I see. So these are like tables or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they're often tables. Well, actually, they could just actually be repeated attributes. So not necessarily tables. It's just some of the MEs are very verbose in the amount of data they can return even without going into tables.
Right. Okay. I get you. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Any other questions for Chip on this item? Okay, so let's go take a look at the to-do items. We already went over the ones for the library, and let's go to both 484, delete an addition if flows are not working on the edge core adapter, and the MID, I think we assigned this one to you. Do we have any comments or updates?
Not yet. I did start looking into it, but I don't have anything right now. Maybe on Thursday I can post some update on it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The next item, VOL 651, and enter CLI of non-existing device.
Yeah, Julie, yeah, this is Venkata. So I started working on it. You can actually move this to in progress,
okay,
if you don't mind. So yeah, I started looking into it. So I made some changes, but did not get affected. So I'm working on some other things right now. So it's in progress. I'll finish this.
Okay, thank you.
Venkata, can I review some of Jira and then assign it to your way?
Yeah.
Something similar to
sure.
on that thread. Okay.
Yeah. You can you just ping me the zeros so beforehand?
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, and the next item, VOL 506, multiple point multicast support. And I don't know if we have anyone on who can talk.
Julie, this is Andy. I'm sorry, I promised that last week, but it'll be done this week.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Can we make that in progress?
They're definitely working on it.
Okay.
Okay, so I can move it to in progress?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay. And the next item, VOL 295, edge core adapter support for multiple OLTs, and this one actually is still unassigned. So do we have anyone available to pick up this item in this sprint? Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I think we'll have to circle back with that one. Sean Yang, if we still need this one in 2.0, then we need to make sure we can find an owner for it at some point here.
Right, and we do have a parallel Jira for the OpenOLT adapter, right? Chad, can you remind me again? So do we have the multiple OpenOLT adapter supporting multiple OLTs?
No, we don't, but I think we have it planned for this sprint. We have a Jira for that, and
Yeah.
I think Nick has taken that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think yeah, I think I'll compare those two.
John, anything
Julie.
else? Okay.
Nope.
Thanks, John. Then the next one, we've got 710. And this one, Chip, let's see where we are.
Yeah, no work is done on that yet. And I'm mainly waiting first to get the ONU capabilities and the completion of some of the mid comparison and auditing done. So it's sort of the start of how to do resynchronizing, I guess, at least before we get technology profiles.
Okay. All right, and you'd mentioned the ONU capabilities, I think, which is the next one on the list.
Yeah, and I've got a fair amount of work done on it. I moved it back to do just to reduce the amount of work in progress since it was starting to become a little bit complex.
Okay. Any questions for Chip on this item? All right, and then let me see, we've got Keita on. I'm not seeing him on the list right now, unless I'm just not reading it correctly. So we did have a couple items on the new broadband simulator. And so I believe we talked about those last week, and he is starting to work on those. So I'll wait to get an update from him on those items, unless there's anyone else who can speak to them. So I know he has been working some with the ONF folks as well. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I'll go ahead and move on. So Volt 805 is the next one, and this is another OpenOMCI related issue for needing the ability to do partial ME decode. And we have a recent comment from Chip on that. And this one, it looks like work is undergoing, but it's in the to-do column again to kind of simplify things at the moment for the in progress.
Yeah. Since I had several stories, I don't want to accidentally lose something or post change to the wrong and break something.
Got it. All right. And then the next one is Bull 706, validation of the Broadcom ONU device adapter OpenOMCI implementation on a secondary implementation.
And that will probably be pushed to at least Sprint 3 since work on the Broadcom hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
This was basically like following up on the TNW just to make sure everything works similarly.
Thank you. Vol 733, update the OF agent to support the pass-through and error consistency checking for meters and technology profile reference via flow table ID. And so this one is assigned to Jono.
Yeah, we haven't started work on this yet.
Okay. Are we thinking this will still happen in the current sprint, in Sprint 2?
When does the current sprint end?
A week from Friday. So almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's possible we may start this. I doubt that it's going to all be complete. It's a big story.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And the next item is a defect that was raised for 812, fiber pulled on ONU side, then the ONU LOS alarm will not get cleared off the bus. The ONU state is changed to active. And so this one, I believe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm working with Nick on this. So he gave me some logic on the VOLTHA side and the VOLTI driver side. So I'm trying to get the access for the Broadcom drivers to see the header file. So I think you can put it on in progress for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last one in the to-do list right now is Vol 849, OpenOMCI Valve 2.6 support. And so Shad, do we have any update there?
I'm sorry, which one are you talking about?
849 BAL 2.6 support for OpenOLT.
Oh, yes. We are still waiting for some licensing agreements to be signed and completed. Saurav is doing that, and we expect that to happen anytime. And you know how things are with Broadcom. So the moment it happens, I think we estimate I estimate it's going to take me about a week or less than a week to move on to BAL 2.6. So yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thank you for that update. Any questions from the group?
And Saurav, does it mean the AT&T need to do something about that also? Not Saurav, Shad. Or since you're going to deliver the tar balls, then AT&T is okay?
Yeah. So AT&T now is able to build the driver. We don't have to keep shipping AT&T Debian or executables.
Okay.
When this change happens, I will share the new patch for the BAL 2.6 on the common CSP. AT&T Nick or someone will pick it up from there and build a driver using that patch, and it will build for BAL 2.6. I mean, of course, you guys will also have to have access to BAL 2.6. Yeah, so I'll work with Nick to see that he's able to build it once we have all the artifacts in place.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It's a pain. You have to do the license stuff. Kim, is Kim or Sean? Are you guys on? Is on the Edge Core the ASF VOLT16? Does it work with about 2.6? Is there something also in the roadmap for that the adapter?
Sean, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, so I think plan.
Please speak. I think. Sean?
Yeah, can anyone hear me?
I think I made it to mute.
We've got some echo going on. Okay. Yes. Yeah, no, we plan to move ahead with the BAL evolution. So yeah, we will support that.
Okay. Can you also open a Jira on that? So the community can track?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sean and Sean. All right, let me go back to our agenda then. And then we've got about 15 minutes left, so I
feel like we have established a lot. Sorry, guys. Julie and I, we just.
So I think what I would like to do is we can still look at these offline. There's a prioritization that needs to be done with the backlog. We have a lot of new issues in. Let me see, is David Bainbridge? David, you are on. I wanted to check in with you on the log management, if you were able to meet with the person from AT&T last week to discuss the requirements. David may be on mute. Okay, so I will circle back with that later. So I think what I'll do, we do have a lot of new JIRAs that were opened, a lot of user stories. Let me go over here. We have a lot of user stories entered in related to, oops. Let me go to the first one. Here we go. Okay, for alarms, and I think it's mainly alarms. There may be some PM as well. So we do have the specific alarms entered with user stories for those. So I did want to point these out. And this has been opened, it looks like, under the OpenOLT Epic. So Shad, I wanted to mention that with you. So at some point we'll need to get a technical lead assigned who's going to be working on the alarms and PM, I think, to cover some of that. And we'll also need to get story points estimated for the development of the various support for the alarms. I think they're all written in a similar fashion for the user stories, following kind of the model that you've got in here. So we'll do a quick look at an example here, and then I wanted to go back to the agenda if we've got time. So Shad, questions from you or from other folks on the approach for the alarms at this point with the formatting for the new user story?
So who's taking the lead here?
We don't
Thomas?
have one yet, so that's an open item. So when we go to the alarms and PM support, we do not have a technical lead assigned yet, so we still need to find one.
Well, the contributor can be the lead. Is Mike Zadek going to contribute?
Do we have anyone on from the Foundry today? So I don't see anyone on. Let me circle back with the Foundry and check to see if he could take on as technical lead for it. So my expectation, last I'd heard, he was going to be contributing. So I'll take that back and ask Don.
The stories themselves look very good. At least the one you were showing.
I think I hear someone talking in the background, but I can't hear it very well.
That was Sarav.
Ah, okay.
I'm saying the stories themselves look very good.
Okay. All right. So it looks like we're in good shape for the stories, and and I think Tom may be on. So Tom, thank you for getting those entered. And what I'm going to do now is jump back over here since we've got about 12 minutes left. And there are two items I want to make sure we get some discussion today because I've not seen anything going on VOLTHA Discuss. So first, I think I'll go over the backlog review for a few specific items. So these 4 that we've been trying to get some discussion going for those 4 items. And then if we've got time, I haven't seen any more discussion about approach for how to handle the 1.4 release that was requested. So I'd like to talk about that as well if we have time. So first, let me go to 248. So this is the EPIC related to the redfish related management work for the EdgeCore OLTs. And so the question that we had for this, oops, let me get back to the right screen, sorry about that, is we have not found an owner for picking up the work and at the development and the ongoing support for that code. So the next question we had for the community is a question on whether or not this still needs to be implemented for the EdgeCore OLT. So if it does, then we still need to find an owner for it. If not, then likely we could close the issue. If something similar is needed, perhaps we need to relook at the EPIC and see if it needs to be redefined.
So, Julie,
yes.
I mean, there's going to be a CBA discussion in the core TST call about an hour from now. And at least our plan in CBA is for the network edge mediator, the NEM, to directly access the Redfish APIs from the box. So it does not, at least in our initial thinking, it does not have to go through VOLTHA. And so, well, that's where we are right now. Okay. So it may not be a VOLTHA story anymore.
Okay. So, okay. Any comments from anyone else in the group, Kim or Sean or Sean Yang. So thank you for that update. Appreciate that. And also, I know you did send out a notice on VOLTHA Discuss, but a reminder to everyone that in an hour after this call happens, there will be a discussion of SIVA on the core TST call. So everyone from the VOLTHA community is welcome to attend that because we didn't have time to absorb it into our schedule this week.
हेलो हाँ नहीं मेरे कॉल्स अभी चल रहे हैं तो तुम कुछ पूछे थे ना अभी मैं देखा तो do you still need it or I'll send you a quick photo.
Chad, you're talking to the entire community.
So on this item, then I think what we'll leave this in the backlog for now. We've, I think, removed it from a 2.0 target. Oh, actually, let's put this as VOLTHA Future right now, and then we can continue some discussion later. But I think based on what you mentioned about the SIVA plans, there's no driver from the ONF side, at least, to pursue this at this time. So we can follow up some discussion later. I'll put some notes in the meeting notes that I'll send out. So anyone else on 248 before I move on to the next one? Okay, then 438 is the next one. And this had been a question about a failure that was occurring intermittently, I believe. And so we were wanting to know if this was being seen for anyone with Kubernetes during the install. So I haven't heard anything from anyone. So Sean Ying, I think you had checked, you had reached out to Nokia and they were going to watch for it when they were doing installs as well. So I don't know if we have any updates today from the group, but I'd like everyone to please check to see if they're noticing this, and if so, provide an update in the JIRA issue so that we know if it's still occurring or not. So if you're not seeing it, feedback would be appreciated as well. So please keep that in mind. Ken, do you want to make any additional comments before I go on to the next item?
No, it's all written down there.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then the next item, 464. This one, is really a question back to the community because this defect was opened using swarm mode and console. And so we've moved on now really towards Kubernetes and etcd. So the question is if we still want as a community to support Docker swarm mode with console. Because if we do not, then I think this defect, we don't need to find anyone to work on it, for example, at this point. So do we have any feedback from the community on whether or not you want to continue to support Docker swarm mode with console?
AT&T do not.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I think one thing is that either swarm mode or the Docker compose files, as far as I can tell, is still used a lot for development. So I don't know, every time the question has been raised of whether we can get rid of the Docker compose files, people pop up and say, no, I'm still using them. So I'm not sure, I don't know, something I've been thinking about is we do have multiple different ways of running VOLTHA, and lots of different sort of deployments, like Kubernetes deployments or Swarm deployments, and they're all slightly different, and they all have different kind of characteristics. And so I think from a maintainability point of view, it makes sense to kind of converge these into at least one or two, or a small set of supported ways of running the system. But right now, it seems that we do still have this kind of plethora of ways.
Okay, any other comments?
So yeah, I guess I'd like to have a discussion about which ways we do want to keep supporting, basically. if we can say that, oh, we only support Kubernetes and etcd, then I think that simplifies a lot of other things. Right? We can get rid of the compose files, we can get rid of the swarm install and all that kind of stuff. And so if we think we can make that call, then I think that'd be a good thing to do, because it will simplify the number of different supported scenarios that we have.
So actually, I think I have a question here. I think this for the soon to be formed TST, maybe this would be a question that would go to them.
Yeah.
Sarah or Sean, do you think that's correct?
Ying? Yes.
Sean Ying, yes.
Yeah, I you know what? I think well, what we can do is we remove it and see if anybody complain it, right? So we just start supporting it until someone complain about it. But I think that the TST definitely can make a decision. And I think Bill Snow's still working on that. I don't see that will be formed within. I think his estimate last week was 4 to 5 weeks, to form, right? So
I'll update my comment later. Okay. So I think with that, we've got 3 minutes left. I have one more item I wanted to go to 670. And this one has been waiting for review in Garrett, I believe. I wanted to bring that one. Oops. Let me try again. Here we go. So this one I think is under review, and there have been some comments on it, but I think it's been sitting there for about a month with the latest updates that were in response to the previous comments. So I'd like to get this one reviewed. So please take a look at that.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if Ken is still on the call, but I'll ping him on Slack and get him to take another look at that.
Okay, thank you. All right, and with that, we are about 2 minutes from being out of time, and I believe there is a call immediately after us today. So I want to wrap up quickly. Then let me briefly circle back to the discussion on 1.4. So we're hoping that this could be handled over VOLTHA Discuss in terms of figuring out a path forward, or what needed to be done. And I've got 1 minute left, so I don't think we'll be able to resolve it today. So can I request that we continue that discussion on 1.4 in terms of the timing and dependencies and how to handle the branching approach for this? Do you think that can be discussed there? We can try again on Thursday as well. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, and I'm about out of time. We do have a thread on that discussion. I think Sean Ying had kicked that one off, and I sent a follow-up. And then a reminder to everyone, as we discussed last week, on Thursday, we're going to extend our meeting by 30 minutes. I'm working to try and get that updated on the court calendar. I don't believe it's updated there yet, but we are planning to hold the meeting for an extra 30 minutes for Thursday. So it'd be from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. And with that, I'm out of time, so I'll go ahead and wrap up. Any last comments before I close the bridge? Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.